Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trek Canon Bootleg Edition. So today I want to talk about Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 2, right, called Wedding Bell Blues. And this is just going to be a quick video, right? Okay, so a long time ago, I did this video because I seen a lot of people talking about, hey, Trelane is a Q, right? And everybody gave like all their reason. I'm like, man, hold up. Trelane ain't a Q. And so I did this video of like, why Trelane isn't a Q, right? So anyway, listen. So I'm watching this episode, right? And basically what's going on in this episode, long story short, right? Spock feels a certain kind of way because, Nurse Chapel brings Roger Corby on board as her date, right? For the centennial 100-year anniversary of the formation of, the Federation, right? And, Spock feels a certain kind of way about this, like I was saying, because, one, in Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Spock really don't got a hold of his emotions just yet. And two, because he had been preparing, all while Nurse Chapel was gone on her little fellowship thing, with Corby, right? He can learn how to dance, and everything like that. Now, okay, first of all, let me talk about La'an, dancing with Spock. It gave me that whole little Data's Day vibe. I mean, what was it, Data's Day? Oh, okay. Where Dr. Crusher was teaching Data how to dance. It gave me that whole little vibe. That being said, La'an is looks pretty. She's a beautiful, we'll just say she's a beautiful lady. So anyway, look, getting back to the episode. Anyway, Spock ends up running across this bartender, right? This real flamboyant, over the top, type of bartender, right? And almost like this Renaissance type outfit, and it gives him this drink. So Spock wakes up now in this different reality, and I was thinking to myself as the episode went on, hold up. Is that Trelane? Is that, oh, by the way, spoilers, everybody, but y'all know how I roll. I was thinking to myself, hold up, is they trying to say that's Trelane? But if that's Trelane, they giving them snapping fingers. Only the Q do the snapping fingers, right? Like, are they trying to, is this the episode where they trying to say that Trelane is a Q? But then as the episode went on, right? Because here it is. It was one person in this whole little makeshift reality that Trelane set up where Spock and Nurse Chapel was actually getting married, right? And that Corby was basically Nurse Chapel's maid of honor. Yeah, I said that right. He was the only one who remembered. Now, the thing is that Spock ends up remembering after, Spock hits the Vulcan. Okay, listen. I don't know why humans feel that you could just go and piss off a Vulcan. Don't listen. That's not like the piss, upsetting a human. That's a totally different level of motivation when it comes to upsetting a Vulcan. You really should do that from a distance. Anyway, so Corby ends up getting stolen on by Spock, right? And Spock ends up remembering, hey man, yeah, I'm in an alternate reality. And I start thinking to myself, well, that's definitely not a Q ability, because if Q changed reality, he changed reality. Ain't nobody snapping out of nothing. I don't care who get hit. Q is gonna change everything. Like, it's a whole nother dimensional reality, right? It's not just some, hey, we affecting some memories. Anyway, so as the episode goes on, right, and I'm starting to think, oh man, no way. This is Trelane, man. They got Trelane in the episode. I wonder how they gonna explain it though. That Spock didn't remember who the hell this dude was when he ran across him with Kirk later, right? Like in the Squire got those, right? I'm thinking to myself, hold up, because they didn't wipe nobody's memories when they left, right? Hold up, how Spock don't remember Trelane, right? Okay, so anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, just another thing, you're her. Love the afro that she's going with, man. She's doing her thing, man. I love the outfits that she was. Actually, I love the outfits that everybody was wearing. The wardrobe person who in this episode did that thing. It was confined to the star base. First of all, let me talk about this star base. A lot of people get the star base flack, as far, where the mountains and the rivers, the waterfalls and all that kind of stuff, right? Here's the thing. Do you guys realize that about maybe 20, 30 years later, they had the technology to do that to an entire world called the Genesis Project? Remember, they was practicing this type of technology on small scales, if you remember correctly, right? So it could be possible that the technology used to create those biodomes in that space station was created using pre-Genesis level technology. I wouldn't be surprised if Carol Marcus had something to do with that. Anyway, as I was saying, right? So I love the outfits, everything like that. But there was little things that it started to make me realize that, hey, although he's doing the snaps and everything, he's definitely not a Q, because like I said, when Q changed reality, ain't no snapping out of it. That being said, I love the fact that omnipotent beings love turning people into dogs. That I get a chuckle out of that every time. But it was one thing, I don't know if you guys caught it in the episode, right? But Corby mentions to Spock that, yeah, Trelane was like, yeah, if y'all piss me off, I'm a banish you to the cornfield. Now, if anybody remembers correctly, it was this episode of the Twilight Zone back in the day. They even made this one of the parters in the Twilight Zone movie, right? It was about the little kid who was super powerful, omnipotent basically. He could put people in TVs and cartoons and all this stuff, but he had this thing about sending people into the cornfield, basically out of existence. They went into the going into the cornfield means oblivion. Proceed on your way to oblivion. Okay, sorry, I had a Transformers flashback. So anyway, that lets me think one of two things, and the implications on both of them is just hilarious. So that means either the Twilight Zone as a series is something that is canon in Star Trek, or that means that that little kid was either Trelane or somebody from his species, and everything in that episode was actual real documented stuff, right? Like in the Star Trek universe, that would be hilarious. Anyway, so check this out, right? At the end of the episode, of course, you got the parents who come and they get Trelane and everything. He didn't say his name was Trelane. He didn't introduce himself as Trelane, I don't believe, but I think he was just called the Wedding Crasher. But listen, this episode, because okay, I have mixed feelings. Because overall, I like the episode because of the inclusion with Trelane. The fact that they let you know that, hey, finally, in canon, answer everybody's questions. This dude is not a Q. Like, they finally put it in canon. They answered everybody's questions. Like I've been trying to tell everybody for the longest, for years. No, dude, Trelane is not a Q, man. What is y'all talking about? Anyway, so listen. But I loved all of that, man. I always love it when Star Trek does reality warp it. This was kind of like a mixture of, what was it where Q put Picard in that Robin Hood scenario, right? I got those kind of vibes from this episode, and I loved that episode, right? What was it? Deja Q? Was it Deja Q? Or Q who? Anyway, so I got that kind of vibe from this episode. But the thing I don't like, I just didn't like, man, was the way they be portraying my boy Spock, man. The way they be portraying my boy Spock, man. But it is canon because I need everybody to understand Spock smiling and all that stuff in this time period, in this time of his life, is canon. See episode The Cage or Menagerie 1 and 2 with the flashbacks. It is canon that Spock could find something, and smile. Look, oh, by the way, the bartender, loved her. She was awesome. I would have hired her too. So that being said, I dug season 3, episode 2. Yeah, it had its shortcomings, man, but it answered one of the biggest questions that has been speculated and conspired in Star Trek canon, and that was whether or not Trelane was a Q or was his species another one of the many omnipotent reality warping species that has been shown and presented and introduced in Star Trek canon. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of the episode, man. Did you guys like it? Did you guys think it was like I want to see some real Star Trek, But to me, that was actually real Star Trek because, again, if you like that Robin Hood episode in The Next Generation and you didn't like this, then it's a reason. It's a reason. If you like the Squire got those, but you didn't like this, then I don't know what to tell you. If you didn't like your Uhura, I don't. Anyway, leave the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And as always, peace, recycle, and say to whales, you guys be cool.